Hey guys, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Sean Barnes. I have about 20 years of progressive leadership experience across multiple functional teams and domains. I started my career out very early on as the extremely introverted IT guy. And then about 10 years ago, I had an opportunity to jump in and start leading human resources. Yeah, that was difficult, it was challenging, but it also opened my eyes to what real leadership means. Since then, I was asked to lead the project management office, start an ESG team, start leading safety and transportation and leadership development. So I started thinking about what are some of the things that really helped move the needle for me to start progressing up that corporate ladder in a meaningful way. Whenever I think about who I was back in 2016, one name comes to mind, Jocko Willink. Reading Extreme Ownership, that book changed my life, and I wanted to share what are the 5 key lessons that I took away from that season of my life from Jocko Willink. The very first thing that I want to talk about is ownership is the foundation of credibility. Yes, the book is obviously called Extreme Ownership for a reason. And some people kind of grapple with this concept a little bit like, well, not everything is my fault. No, technically, you're right. However, if you go into every single situation, every single challenge with the mindset of, I'm going to take ownership here. I am going to do everything I can to figure out how we make sure this doesn't happen again. How can I learn as much as possible from this situation? And whenever you have issues with peers and coworkers and even bosses, if you go into any sort of conflict or crucial conversation with the approach of, hey, you know what, I messed up here. I'm so sorry. Let's figure out how we can work through this together because I want to be better. Immediately, their walls come down because you're not pointing blame at them. And usually, people are intelligent enough to know that they kind of were at fault, but at least you bring their walls down and you can start having a productive conversation and working through the issue. The best example that I have of that is when I started leading human resources, there were a lot of things that were breaking and not working in HR, but I sat down with a member of the teams and said, hey, I have not been doing a good enough job in supporting you to ensure you have the tools necessary to be successful. How can I help you be more successful? I took ownership of it. Leading HR was entirely new to me, but I still stepped in and took ownership, and we were able to start working together and collaborating and building trust and then accomplishing really big things together. The next thing that I want to touch on is how clarity beats emotion, especially under pressure. I'm flashing back to one of the integrations that I had an opportunity to be a part of. There was a lot of tension and stress and pressure on everybody involved. It was a very large acquisition and integration. Anytime there's pressure, there's a lot of stress, and people's emotions start to run high. We had senior executives that were yelling and threatening people. It was not a good situation at all. I myself was being threatened quite a bit. The people on my team were being threatened. I had to maintain my composure. I had to learn how to be the eye of the storm. In all of those meetings, every time we would have a senior leader come in and start yelling at us, I was always calm and collected. I would try to defuse the situation. And what that did is it built a tremendous amount of trust between me and everybody else in the room. Because in a chaotic environment, people crave safe. So if you can create that safe environment, be calm and collected and think logically about how do we work through this issue? How do we solve this problem together? All of a sudden, people are going to trust you. More people are going to want to spend time around you. More people are going to want to support you, so that we can all move things forward together in a productive way. Nobody wants to be yelled at. So if you are that leader that loses your temper, I would highly encourage you, go do some yoga, try some breath work, figure something out that's going to minimize the risk of you going off the deep end, because all it is going to do is destroy trust with the people on your team. The next one is something that I've carried over through all aspects of my life. And that is standards matter more than comfort. It's so easy for us to fall into the trap, especially here during the winter months. It's cold outside. You wake up early. You don't want to get up. You stay all covered up in your cozy little bed. Instead of honoring the commitment you made to yourself, that you were going to get up and go for a walk every morning, that you were going to get up and get in that freaking ice bath every single morning. When you set standards for yourself, when you lean into discipline, you are going to succeed. It is not comfortable, period, the end. But discipline will always win over motivation. So discipline in our personal lives, whenever it comes to nutrition and health and fitness, and then discipline in the business world. If you say that you are going to have a proposal to somebody by the end of the day, get the proposal to them by the end of the day. Set the standard. Be the standard. And when you do, everyone around you is going to notice it. Everyone around you is going to respect you just a little bit more. And the longer you do this, the more respect you will start to amass. And then all of a sudden, you have built so much momentum that everybody knows who you are and everybody knows what you're about and everybody wants to be a part of it. This next one is the biggest unlock that I have ever come across. Leadership is about enabling everyone around you to win. Make your customer the hero. Make your employees the hero. Set them up for success. Now, whenever I flash back to the first decade of my professional career, I was that individual contributor. I was the smartest engineer in the room. I was the only person that understood how the data center operated. And I thought I could brute force my way into success. And I did achieve certain levels of success in the corporate world, eventually finding myself into a vice president of IT role. But then something shifted. I realized that there is only so much that I could accomplish. Once I stepped in and started leading human resources, I wasn't the smartest person in the room anymore. I had members of my team that knew payroll far better than I did. I had members of my team that actually understood employment law and benefits. And I realized that if I can get approval to purchase this new payroll module so that our payroll team can be more productive and our manager can be more productive, all of a sudden, payroll is more productive. If I was able to spend a little bit of training budget around employment law for some of our HR managers that were out in the field and help them be more productive, they became more productive. And then the more I started doing that, the more I started to realize that if I lift Jason up and Sharon up and Kristen up, that all ships would rise with the tide. We all performed better together. And it wasn't about how much could Sean output. It was about Sean becoming a force multiplier and getting everybody on the team to perform at a higher level. And once I did, all of a sudden, I had a leader emerge on the team that gave me the capacity to then jump in and start building more teams and leading more teams. But you have to pour into everybody and set them up for success. Ego. Ego is the enemy of growth. This is a bit tricky and challenging to navigate at times. Pride and ego, not the same thing. You want to take pride in the work that you do. But if it starts bleeding into ego, I'm the smartest engineer in the room, nobody knows the data center as well as I do, people don't want to work with that. You have to constantly question your own assumptions. Surround yourself with people that you trust and that they trust you, and know that if you start to step out of line, they might check you. And as soon as they check you, you have to listen. You can't get upset. You can't get frustrated. You have to listen and understand that Jonathan is an expert in what he does. I'm operating through this lens of, I think I know all of these things, but clearly he is an expert over here. Maybe he does know more than I do. Maybe I should listen. And whenever you are able to walk into any situation and check your ego and understand that you're not the smartest person in the room, you have goals and objectives, and you probably know quite a bit because you are in this senior leadership position, but you are not the smartest person in the room. And once you understand that, and once you start focusing on doing everything you can to enable and empower the people on your team and let them know it's okay to check you, talk about building trust and respect and high-performing teams. Quick recap on all of these things. It's just been refreshing to reflect and think about these 5 key, easy principles and lessons that really helped become this catalyst for a turning point in my leadership journey. Ownership is the foundation of credibility. Clarity under pressure. Maintain your calm. Stay composed. Be the eye of the storm. Standards over comfort. Set the bar as high as possible and then meet the standard every single day. Focus on enabling everyone else around you to win. And when you do, all ships will rise with the tide. You are going to rise right along with everybody else. That's not the driver. The driver is to ensure that everybody on the team wins, and you are part of that team. And the last one, ego is the biggest enemy of growth. You have to check that ego. You have to constantly audit your circle and be intentional about who you have around you and trust them and let them trust you enough to check you if you start stepping out of line. All right, I get a little bit fiery and passionate about all of these things. Obviously, leadership, coaching, development, this is my purpose in life. If any of you would like to have a conversation, kind of deep dive into any of these topics, feel free to shoot a message to me, connect with me, or just drop a comment down below. Or if there's certain content that you would like to see me make, just again, drop a comment down below and we'll make it happen. All right, everybody, go out there and crush it.